All right, so human beings, you can either become great or become not so great. So, what are the actual meaningful factors that contribute to something arriving at the end goal of becoming great? So, first of all, why should you trust a single thing that I say? And these aren't just my opinions, it's what I've learned from studying people who actually are great for extended periods of time and gathering consistent variables that they needed to have to be able to succeed. But why should you actually care in the first place? This will be quick. If a large majority of people who achieve great things do a common few amount of things, then if you want to be great, just you would benefit greatly by actually doing the things that those great people do. Anyways, that's like the little intro to why you should actually listen to me. Let's get into the real thing. So, first, you have to actually have an operational definition of greatness. And for the purpose of this video, that is going to be doing something extremely well, better than most, and being clearly recognized for it over time. So, the real question after that is what does it take to be able to perfect a skill so well that you are better at it than 99.99999% of the world at that one thing? And I believe it can be found in recognizing behaviors, beliefs, and characteristics of people who are in that top percentile. So, what are some of those people? Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Elon Musk, Albert Einstein, and Magnus Carlsen. So, what do what are the commonalities that these people actually have? So, quickly, before we touch on that, I believe that there is some information here that can be incredibly valuable before I go further and actually explain what they do. So, I would like to introduce you to a topic that will take about 30 seconds to go over, so just bear with me before I get into the actual stuff. Let me introduce you to the big three of tennis. And the reason I'm showing you is that these people have achieved greatness in their skill, in the exact same skill, that have done it in three different ways. First, you have Nadal, the warrior. He has an obsessive routine, is hyper focused, and is incredibly intense. Second, you have Federer, who's the artist. He plays effortlessly and is calm and plays instinctively. He's always in basically a flow state, especially more than any of the other ones on this list. And lastly, you have, honestly, I don't know how to say this correctly, but Djokovic, the machine. He's very analytical and incredibly disciplined. He's like basically a robot when it comes to processing what to do on the court. And why show you all this? The reason is to explain that greatness isn't simply about going down a one particular path, but knowing yourself and how you are able to work the best. And greatness is always able to be achieved in many different ways. However, there are some consistencies across the board. So, what are those consistent factors among almost every single great person? One, obsession level commitment. Jordan had the quote, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots. I failed over and over again, and that is why I succeed." Brady watched film for hours even during off seasons. Musk slept under his desk at Tesla and worked 100+ hour weeks. And Djokovic obsessed with diet, sleep, and recovery routines. You need mastery. To get to mastery, you need relentless repetition. So, number two, they have extreme work ethic. They work harder than longer than basically every other person. Nadal practiced longer than everyone else on tour even after reaching the number one spot because he wanted to keep the spot. Carlsen studied thousands of games to be able to build intuition so he could continue being amazing. Einstein worked jobs that he hated just so he could have time for physics on the side. Outwork talent with effort. Because talent doesn't really mean anything if it doesn't come to fruition through actual knowledgeable practice. Number three, ruthless self-honesty. They constantly analyzed their weaknesses and worked on them. Jordan watched tapes of every single mistake that he did. He looked at it like a maniac and focused on it until those mistakes were never made again. Djokovic rebuilt his empire, rebuilt his entire serve mid-career to be able to fix a slump. Musk openly invites criticism and retools teams when needed. So, growth lives where ego dies. So, you want to be as malleable as possible. So, pattern recognition and strategic thinking. Carlson sees 10 moves ahead and Musk sees across entire industries. You need to be thinking about not just your next move, that's what like every single other person does. You need to be thinking so much farther ahead of everyone else that you have a long-term strategy and you know what other people are already going to do. Federer anticipates opponents' shots based on subtle cues in literal seconds. You need to be able to gather the skill of reading the board and seeing the best move to make and quick thinking. And Einstein visualized complex ideas as metaphors and mental models. So you need to be able to have a mental modeling of complex systems to be able to succeed and be in the top percentage of a certain skill. That's just like a requirement across the board. Number 5, don't worry, there are only 3 more. Mental toughness under pressure. Of course, this is self-explanatory with Brady, like amazing Super Bowl comebacks. Nadal had a 5-hour French Open grind session. Musk stayed calm when Tesla almost went bankrupt. And Einstein defended relativity while facing backlash from the scientific community. Pressure is an absolute privilege, so treat it like it is such. All right, number 6, we have constant reinvention. Jordan returned from baseball to be able to dominate again. Djokovic came back from a career-threatening injury to dominate a second era. Musk moved from software to rockets to electric vehicles. And then Einstein revised even his own theories. So the overall idea here is that you need to be adaptable. If you're doing the same thing over and over again, that's not good enough. You need to adapt what you're doing and be constantly being able to go back to it and see what you can do better. And the last one is deep curiosity plus problem solving. And Einstein said, I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious. Carlson learned every major chess theory, then broke the mold from it. Musk taught himself rocket science by reading textbooks and talking to engineers, and Federer studied opponents obsessively to anticipate better. So it is very rare that you'll succeed at anything that you don't have a very, very curious mindset towards, and if you're not looking at it like it's almost play and like almost how a toddler looks at like their dad when they work. Like they're just fascinated with like basically everything about it. And it's just like curiosity fuels like breakthroughs is the core belief there. So let's make it even more simple than that. Here are 7 traits and characteristics to actually achieve greatness, just simplified down. Obsession, pattern recognition, grit, emotional control, feedback loop, deep focus, and curiosity. Just think of all those, and I guarantee you, if you perfect all those in that one skill, it is a very, very rare chance that you do not become one of the best to ever do it at the thing you're focusing on. If you actually perfect all of these things, it is very difficult not to become great. Just that is the overall theme of this video. Just perfect these things, and you'll have everything down. And I was going to explain how to implement this logically into your life, but this is getting a little bit long by now, so I'll create that video if this one is able to do decently well. So I have nothing to sell you, but I do really want this to get this account monetized. So if you'd like to help me out, then subscribe, like the video, watch a few other videos if you'd like, and then also comment on what other topics you'd like me to discuss. That's only if you'd want to support me. But if not, all good. And thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.